In my school, Harmony School of Innovation, we are only required to have one physical education credit per the state of Texas. Other high schools have other physical education credits. Usually they'll have about 4, 1 for each year. But my school, since it's solely academic, focuses just to have 1 physical education credit. And we are only allowed to do this senior year. Now, to make up for this, the school has decided to try and implement 1 time a semester where we can go out and partake in some physical activity, just kind of like recess. And my example would be when we had soccer. Me and my classmates in my dear class, we played soccer. And all of us were excited to go. As soon as we heard that we could go, we were excited. We get to go outside and do something, and being cramped in school one day, that's enough to get you excited. So when we went to go outside and everything, we got to play soccer. And the thing is, there are many people in there that I don't usually get to talk to. But because we got to play soccer, there were many people that I got to interact with that I don't usually get to. And that was rather nice, getting to talk to people that I haven't talked to, and getting to hang out with people that I do talk to. And definitely when you're sitting in school, sitting for hours, listening to a teacher lecture, doing work, you get all this nervous energy built up. And with this little small amount of time, I was able to release a good amount of that energy that I can't release when I'm sitting in a chair for several hours. It kept me awake, and I'm not going to say excited, but it kept me awake and alert for my last class. Now imagine something like this every day. 1 small time every day where we can, get a mood booster, where we can get some connection and downtime, where we can release pent up energy that we get from sitting in chairs for hours a day. Well, you could find this through giving high schoolers and middle schoolers recess. One important thing to having recess is that it's a mood booster. Students are bored and grumpy and anxious with all the tests, with all the homework, with all the classes that we have to sit through. We're all anxious, we're all bored. That doesn't make anyone happy. Now, because of this exercise, if we had a small amount of exercise during the day, exercise releases endorphins. This gives you a mood boost throughout the day, making you generally more upbeat, keeping you alert, aware. Exercise also helps with memory and emotional control. There are several parts of the brain that are used during exercise. Seen in this little graph from research that was done by University of Illinois' Dr. Chuck Hillman. Here's a brain when there is no activity, but then there is a brain after doing 20 minutes of walking. This is just walking. There are several parts in the brain that are lit up during this time, and it's the hippocampus, the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex. They are all in charge of emotional control and memory. So if you did a little bit of activity every single day, tons of things would benefit from it, having better control of your emotions and how to deal with them and how you should act out to them, and also it would help with your short-term memory. Now, if not exercise, since recess isn't always about exercise, students would get to partake in activity that they enjoy with other people. It gives them much needed screen-free social interaction that we do not get sitting in the classroom listening to lectures. Lastly, it gives people the time to connect. And that goes into my next point. So there was connection and downtime. Human interaction is so important, and we can give that to students in the form of recess. They would all enjoy similar activities that they don't usually get, that they can't usually do when they're sitting in the classroom. What all are you going to do sitting in the classroom? So, with all the people that are anxious and depressed, many people say that they have problems during their time, and that's where the third point comes in, that it releases pent up energy. Students are crammed into classrooms for 40 to 90 minutes next to 15 to 30 kids, and they're shipped to classrooms in small time frames, like 5 to 10 minutes, like prisoners, just to do it all over again for 8 hours a day. This leads to a lot of people having a bunch of issues such as anxiety, depression, relationships may be a side factor of it, but it's mostly those two. Now with recess, we can help this. We can give them the time to release this pent-up energy, to release all the anxiety that's built up during the day in the form of, running, walking, playing a sport that you might like, doing an activity like throwing the ball, or depression. Many students don't get enough time with their peers. They don't get that time that they value with their friends outside of school because of other activities, or in school when we're sitting listening to lectures. And that's an important thing, to have that time with your friends. It's one thing that schools, kind of side promote. And having this time would help kids with depression, getting to interact with their peers, having someone there to be for them, or just to go and do an activity. Now there is a school that is known as Montpelier High School, and this is kind of a picture of it. Montpelier High School has 85-minute class periods, and between lunch and whatever else that they have in their schedule, they had 15 minutes left over for recess. So what they did is they decided to make a kind of recess where they had one director watch over the construction and carrying out of all the activities that were listed on the board. And this board is a place where students can suggest activities to do, and there would be a room where it's in, and of the person who's watching, probably a teacher, and all that stuff. Schools could do something similar to this, where they either input time into their schedule or find where there is extra time and make a small little period of recess for people to interact with one another, do activities, and other stuff like that. Now, kids definitely benefit from this, and that is getting time to interact with each other and visit with friends. This is something very important to kids. That's why they do it in class. If we had time to do this outside of class, that would help everybody all around. And not only that, but they will get to be able to devote more attention to class if they had this little time to do an activity, visit with friends, do them. And of course, the teachers benefit from this too. Students will be less cranky and anxious. That ties into that devoting more time to the class. If they are less cranky, less anxious, with all this pent-up energy, they can finally devote more of their attention to class. And not only that, but they had time to talk with their friends. They can't say that they haven't. They had a good 15, 20 minutes to talk about what goes on during the day, the latest news, what's going on in social media. And with this time, there will be a good amount of talking that does not happen in the classroom, whereas it previously had without this time. Now the bad stuff. Teachers will be filled with a classroom of anxious, wild, crazy students that just want to get to their friends what happened today, or that want to talk to them about lunch, talk to them what happened on social media. Not only that, but they're wild, they're bored, they're cranky, they're just all over the walls. And if they don't have this time to go and have recess to socialize, they'll be wild. And students, they will take their class time, which is this time for them to learn, to socialize. Students can't help it. They want to talk to their friends, and they will take this time to socialize and take away class time. Now, schools should start implementing recess. The way that they can do this is petition time for them to go into to find time for recess, a little allotted time, and find teachers who would be willing to partake in activities, find rooms that are available, petition the idea to the school board. If funding is an issue, you can suggest ideas to help fundraise, to have materials for the activities that they want to do. If teachers feel that if they need to be paid compensation, school feels that they need to pay extra time for the teachers to be there, then that's also another part of the fundraising. If there is a problem with, well, what are the students going to do? Well, that's another thing that you could petition to the board. Give examples, give ideas of what students could be doing during this time. Not just physical activities, but things such as crocheting, playing cards or board games, having a time where they can talk, just get in a big circle and talk. These are little things that would help students so much during their day. This is why you should allow students to have recess during the day. Thank you.